Welcome back to another Fantasy Puck video, guys. It's Chris, and we've got another tier list for you guys today. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed our top 25 centers tier list for the All-Star update. I am going to be tackling the top 25 wingers now in this video, so be sure to check that out. If you haven't seen the center video already, let me know in the comments down below in that video what you guys thought of that. But again, just to go over a little bit of the criteria, we are evaluating fantasy hockey wingers up until this point in the regular season. We touched on a little bit potentially what they could do beyond this during the All-Star break, but I think it's just more so evaluating where everyone is at in the current season so far, going into the post All-Star break for fantasy hockey. But with that being said, guys, let's get right into the video. All right, guys, so again, before we get started, remember the criteria we are evaluating these players off of is goals, assists, power play points, shots, hits, and blocks. Those are the categories that we are going to be focused on when evaluating these players. So starting us off, we have Matthew Tkachuk of the Florida Panthers. 16 goals, 35 assists, 19 power play points, 181 shots, 60 hits, and 16 blocks on the year so far. Tkachuk really struggled out of the gate, but has really come around in the last little bit, just like every single elite player does when they go through a little bit of a slump. It takes some guys sooner than later to get out of these kind of slumps, but right now, Tkachuk has been fantastic. I have him in the A tier, not quite in the S tier, but given the fact that his production has been very good, he's well over that 50-point mark at 51 points on the year already. 181 shots, 60 hits. Typically, we don't see him hit as much as Brady, but he is an elite passer and an elite playmaker in the league and will continue to do so. I would not be surprised if this guy finished with 40 goals and around the 100-point mark again this season. Up next, we have Steven Stamkos of the Tampa Bay Lightning. 21 goals, 26 assists, 27 power play points, 146 shots, 32 blocks, 18 hits. I want to put him in A, but I feel like he's been more along the B caliber. Like he's hovering around a point a game so far. I think he's been solid. 21 goals on the year already is great. I know I had points in A, so they have similar numbers. So I feel like actually Stamkos is going to be in A for me. He's been solid. Like the shot volume's good as well. 146 shots. He doesn't really hit too much. 32 hits on the year. Doesn't really block too much, which is really where Stamkos kind of dries up when it comes to those peripherals. But I think for production and his power play points on top of that, along with his shot volume, he is deserving of the A tier. I think I might bump him down to B compared to some of the other players because there are a ton of good wingers in this list. But I think we're just going to go with that for right now. Up next, we have Kyle Connor. 18 goals, 11 assists, 123 shots with 10 power play points, 4 hits, 10 blocks. The thing with Connor is he's difficult to kind of evaluate and compare to some of these other players, just given the fact that he was out for so long. But I do think he is a top 25 winger, and I do think he is deserving of a spot on this list. I'm going to have him in the A tier, just given the fact that how productive he was during the span in which he was healthy. He was in the Rocket Richard race. I expect him to get back in the Rocket Richard race. It'll be tough just because of how many games he's missed, but I think given his time span and when he's been in the lineup, he has been fantastic for fantasy owners. Really, really good shot volume, a really high goal total as well, and a decent amount of power play points already on the year with a decent amount of assists. 11 assists is pretty solid in that time span. So I think Connor's deserving of an A, even though he doesn't really have those great peripheral stats like hits or blocks. Up next is Alex DeBrincat of it should be the Detroit Red Wings. I have him in his Sens jersey in this video. Apologies for that. They don't always update the profile pictures of each of the players. So that's why he's like that. But 18 goals, 25 assists with 14 power play points, 139 shots, 19 hits, and 22 blocks. I was expecting DeBrincat's hit volume to really be a lot higher, similar to what we saw even in Ottawa, but it's really just come down quite significantly. It's nowhere near his past season total by any means. I think I might have him in the C tier. He had a really, really hot start. He's kind of cooled off as of late. I think with, Kane being out, it'll be interesting to see what they kind of do with him going forward. But for me, DeBrincat has been pretty solid all around. Not great, not awful. So I think that's deserving of the C tier. I'm really disappointed in his hit volume out of everything. The shot volume is solid as always. He's an elite shooter, but I think I'm just putting him in C tier because I expected more out of his hit volume, and this year he just has not been hitting at all. Up next, we have our first S tier player. It is Filip Forsberg of the Nashville Predators. This guy is just an absolute fantasy stud. 24 goals, 27 assists on the year. 16 power play points, 203 shots with 84 hits, and 22 blocks for Filip Forsberg. Just unbelievable. Like, you get it all with him. You get goal scoring, you get high shot volume, you get a ton of assists, you get a good amount of power play points, plus 84 hits on top of that, and then 22 blocks as well. I think he's deserving of the S tier. You could have gotten this guy anywhere past like the 8th round, and it would have just been an absolute league winner. He is a league winner for me this year, guys. Really, really happy if you guys got to this guy. He's an absolute stud in fantasy formats that counts hits and blocks. So I think he is deserving of the S tier. Jay Guentzel with a very, very similar stat line as Forsberg. He's got 22 goals, 27 assists, 11 power play points, 173 shots, 29 hits, and 18 blocks. We're seeing a little bit more in terms of shot volume. I think he's deserving of the B tier so far this season. The production's been great. He's got a ton of points on the year so far. He's just sitting below that 50-point mark. He hovers around a point a game. The shot volume's good. I think for me, the difference between him and all the guys in A tier is the fact that he doesn't really have an elite category. Like Stamkos, his power play points are just absurd. Matthew Tkachuk, he's got over 35 assists on the year. And the hit volume and the block volume really brings him down. And I don't think he quite has the shot volume that Kyle Connor does. So that's why Jay Guentzel is going to be in B. Up next, we have Adrian Kempe of the LA Kings. Somebody that I thought had a really, really good start and has kind of cooled off a little bit as well. 17 goals, 26 assists with 13 power play points, 146 shots, 55 hits, and 16 blocks. I think Kempe is going to be in the C tier. Again, guys, just as a note, these aren't in any particular order. If they're in the tier, they're just deserving of that tier. But for me with Kempe, again, I kind of expected his hit totals to be a little bit higher. He finished last year with around 120 hits, and I anticipate that he will be around that mark as well. But the shot volume has been great so far. I might actually bump him up to B. We'll see. We'll do a little bit of a revision at the end. But I think for right now, I'm going to have him in C just because his production isn't quite where, say, Guentzel's is, for example, even if he gets you an extra, like, 30 hits. For me, it's just the shot volume is similar, but the production is not there. Guentzel's shot volume is also much, much higher. So he's comparable to a guy like DeBrincat for me. Up next, we have Jason Robertson of the Dallas Stars. Again, another guy that's kind of struggled a little bit out of the gate, but has turned his season around. 17 goals, 33 assists with 17 power play points, 146 shots on goal, 32 hits, and 18 blocks. I really expected J-Rob's shot volume to be a lot higher than what it is. I get that, like, he had a slow start. He had 17 goals so far this season, so I think I'm going to put him in the B tier for right now. Very similar numbers in terms of total points to Guentzel. Not as high as a shot volume, obviously, but those power play points, he's already at 17 on the year, with 32 hits and 18 blocks. I anticipate this guy's going to have a really good second half of the season, but for right now, he's been pretty good, so I'm just going to have him in B. I think he's above DeBrincat and Kempe, and right around where Guentzel is. Up next, we have Matt Barzal of the New York Islanders, somebody who I was really surprised at has really taken a jump in terms of his shot volume this year. He's at 146 shots on the year already, which is very similar to what we see, or what we just saw with J-Rob, 13 goals, 38 assists on the year with 18 power play points, 18 hits, and 24 blocks on the year for Matt Barzal. I mentioned his shot volume has really improved this year. I think I want to put him in the A tier. He's well over a point a game. He's been shooting the puck a lot. He's got a ton of power play points on the year already, 18. So I think he's deserving of the A tier. A little bit of a step up from Guentzel, just given the fact that he is almost at 40 assists on the year. He will never have a really high goal total, I don't anticipate, but he is one of the better playmakers in the National Hockey League. And then you combine that with the fact that he's got a ton of power play points on the year. I think that's a little bit of a step above that Gensel and J-Rob range for right now. So I'm going to put him in the A tier. Up next, we have Kirill Kaprizov, 19 goals, 26 assists, 21 power play points, 137 shots, 19 hits, and 23 blocks. Again, another guy that had a really, really slow start. He's been very good as of late. If you guys have noticed, 21 power play points on the year is already insane. Last year, he had 32, and he's now going into the All-Star break while missing time. That Minnesota power play has really started to click. I am going to put him in the B tier for right now. I think he's really in between B and A. I can't really justify putting him in A for right now. I think he's slowly approaching that A tier again, guys, and he's going to have a great second half of the season. Carter Verhaeghe has been fantastic this year. One of the highest scoring wingers in the National Hockey League in terms of points. 24 goals, 26 assists with 11 power play points, 160 shots on goal, 27 hits, and 15 blocks. I really want to put him in A. I think he's deserving of it. He's over that. He's just at that 50-point threshold. A good shot volume, 160 shots. Doesn't really hit as much or doesn't really block as much, but I think for Verhaeghe, he's deserving of the A tier just given his production this season. Another guy that's right around that 50-point mark is Mark Stone. He's been actually fantastic this year, already at 15 goals. His last year's season high was 17, 34 assists, 14 power play points, 105 shots, 23 hits, and 33 blocks. I'm going to throw Mark Stone into B tier. I think just, again, the biggest thing that separates Stones from most of the players and wingers above him is the shot volume. He's only at 105 shots on the year, 22 hits, 33 blocks. So the block totals are good, but nothing really stands out. I think Stone's having a great year. I think he's been solid. He's, again, close to a point a game. It's difficult to put him into A, though, because of his peripherals. So I'm going to leave him at the top of the B tier. Up next, we have Brad Marchand of the Boston Bruins. 24 goals, 23 assists with 21 power play points, 131 shots, 49 hits, and 22 blocks. I have to put him in A for two reasons. Number one is the power play points. He's got 21 on the year already. Good shot volume alongside of that with 131 shots, and then 50 hits on top of that. He is normally on the pace for like 80 to 90 hits. He's going to be well over that this year. He's hovering around a point a game with a good shot volume and an elite power play point total, just given the fact that Boston's so good on the power play. If you guys count PIMS in your league, this guy's an absolute gem. He's already upwards of over 50 penalty minutes on the year. But I think Marchand is deserving of the A tier. And again, I have him just slightly over all the guys in B. I think he's really close to being in the B tier, but I just wanted to bump him up because of those large power play totals at 21. Up next is Jesper Bratt, who's been unbelievable so far this season. 19 goals, 31 assists with 20 power play points, 145 shots, 30 hits, and 23 blocks. He's just a better Marchand, really. Outside of the extra 20 hits, he does have one less power play point as well, but gets you a little bit more in terms of shot volume and is at 31 assists already on the year. And his shot volume is actually come up quite a bit as well. So I think Bratt could honestly be a league winner for you guys this year, depending on where you got him. Up next, we have Nikita Kucherov, and honestly, let's just bang out Nikita Kucherov. He might be the best player in the National Hockey League right now, him and Nathan MacKinnon. There's nothing really much to say about it. He has been so good, like dominant every single time he touches the ice this year. He's already at 32 goals with 53 assists on the year, 37 power play points, 210 shots, 21 hits, and 19 blocks. The biggest standout for me is the fact that his shot volume has just skyrocketed as of late. And then he's at 32 goals already, guys. Like, this guy is an absolute machine out there. I'm glad that he's stayed healthy, very similar to Nathan MacKinnon. It seems like those injury woes are kind of behind him. He's going to have an absolute monster year, could have a 150-point season. This guy's been lights out. Like, there's nothing more I can really say about it. He could be the best in the National Hockey League right now. Speaking of the best in the National Hockey League right now, David Pastrnak will have something to say about that. 33 goals on the year already, 39 assists with 28 power play points, 248 shots already on the year, 35 hits and 13 blocks. Passes an S tier. Like, there's really not much to say about it. He could end up with another 60 goal year, excuse me. He should be around that 100 point mark as well. And the shot volume is just so insane right now. Very similar to what we saw last year. That was the first time since Ovi in like 2016, I believe, where a player had over 400 shots in a season. He's just an absolute machine. He's deserving of the S tier and will be there for a long time to come. This might be one of the biggest jumps I've seen in terms of a player ranking that I've seen like recently. Artemi Panarin is going into S tier. I think I had him initially at the start of the year in like that B and C tier. And the reason for that was the fact that A, he didn't really score a lot, and B, he didn't really shoot either. And this year has just been the complete opposite. Like, this guy is a brand new player, guys. His shot volume has almost doubled from last season. I can't say enough about him. 30 goals already on the year with 36 assists, 28 power play points, 194 shots, and then 5 hits, 6 blocks is really what brings him down. But the fact that the shot volume is there, he's already at pretty much 200 shots. And then at 30 goals on the year already with 36 assists and 28 power play points is just insane production for a guy that you probably got in like the third, maybe second round, late second, early third, around that kind of area. If you got him any later than that, just an absolute league winner for you. He's been an absolute stud this year. I'm absolutely shocked that he's just become this brand new player, and really happy that he has really established himself as an elite winger, especially when it comes to fantasy hockey. Speaking of elite wingers, we have Mikko Rantanen going into the S tier as well. 27 goals, 39 assists on the year, 30 power play points, 166 shots, 27 hits, 31 blocks. The production is just so insane already that he's deserving of the S tier. You add in 30 power play points already on the year. Not really much to say. 166 shots is solid. He's going to be on pace for what he was at last year, probably over. Another 50 goal season incoming. Likely a higher assist total, should be around that kind of like 60, maybe even 70 mark for his assist total. But 30 power play points already at this year is insane. His last season total was 37. So that just shows you how good that Avs power play is. And the shot volume, he'll be a 300 plus shooter again this year. So Rantanen deserving of the S tier. Sam Reinhart, it's tough to put him anywhere else but the S tier for me this season. 37 goals on the year. This guy just can't stop scoring. I think even if he wanted to stop, he couldn't do it. 37 goals, like I said, challenging for the Rocket Richard right now. He's almost at 40 before the All-Star break. That's like Austin Matthews pace right there. 25 assists with 24 power play points, 134 shots, 23 hits, and 43 blocks, which is honestly a pretty high block total for a winger that scores as much as he does, excuse me. I can't put him anywhere else than S, given the fact that he's challenging for the Rocket Richard right now. He's got a good enough shot volume to justify him staying in S. It's not like it's like Mark Stone, where he's like just over 100 right now, and he's just, you know, shooting at like 30%. But he's been unbelievable so far this season. Up next, we have Mitch Marner of the Toronto Maple Leafs. 20 goals, 33 assists on the year with 17 power play points, 118 shots, 27 hits, and 39 blocks. High block total. I think he's deserving of the A tier. Hasn't been exceptional, hasn't been bad by any means. He usually does this exact same thing every single year, where he goes through a bit of a slump early on and then finds his game and goes on an absolute tear the rest of the season. Deserving of the A tier, one of the best playmakers in the National Hockey League. 33 assists on the year, 20 goals. He is deserving of that A tier. Up next, we have Brock Boeser, and I want to put him in S, but I think I'm going to put him at the top of the A tier. 30 goals on the year, 22 assists, 16 power play points, 134 shots, 22 hits, and 18 blocks. Him and Reinhart are very similar across the board in terms of not only production, in terms of goals and assists and power play points even, and shot volume also. I think the thing that really sets them apart is Reinhardt's at like that 40 block mark already. The other fact is that Reinhardt has 7 more goals than Boeser does on the year. Pretty much the exact same in terms of assist totals as well. Reinhardt's at 25, Boeser's at 22. So I think that's kind of where I'm drawing the line for the S tier. Boeser has been unbelievable so far this season, is a league winner. You probably could have even gotten that guy off of waivers at any point. So he's just been fantastic. I just can't justify putting him into S tier. Zach Hyman, again, similar situation, 30 goals on the year with only 17 assists, but 13 power play points, 163 shots, 33 hits, and 26 blocks. He is going in the A tier right alongside Brock Boeser there. Again, guys, this isn't necessarily the order in which it is in. I'm just throwing them kind of into their respective categories. But Hyman's been great. 30 goals on the year already. Cannot complain about that. Good shot volume, 163 shots. Decent hit volume as well, 33 hits and 26 blocks on the years. He is deserving of the A tier, just given the fact how much he scores and the shot volume that he has alongside 13 power play points is pretty good. So I think he's deserving of the A tier, just given his goal total and his shot volume. Up next, we have Clayton Keller. I'm going to put him in the B tier. 20 goals, 25 assists, 19 power play points, 146 shots with only 10 hits and 19 blocks. That's really the biggest thing, guys. Even though his shot volume is solid and he's at that kind of like 45-point mark, he's still below technically a point a game. And his shot volume, albeit good, just doesn't quite push him over the edge for me to go into A tier with some of these players that are either over a point a game or have a really, really good shot volume and a really high goal total. Guys like Hyman, guys like Kyle Connor, for example. But basically everybody in A tier is over a point a game or has 30 goals, which Keller doesn't really have. So I think he's right there with the rest of the guys in B tier. Up next, we have William Nylander of the Toronto Maple Leafs, one of the highest scoring wingers in the National Hockey League right now, well over a point a game, 23 goals, 38 assists. Like, he's over 60 points already. One of the best, not only in terms of wingers, but in the National Hockey League for points. 22 power play points, 197 shots, almost at that 200 shot mark with 18 hits and 14 blocks. He is going into S tier alongside Sam Reinhart. Willie's just been unbelievable this year, guys. Like, the point totals speak for themselves, and then you add a really, really high shot volume player alongside of that also chips in on the power play and has 22 power play points on the year. I can't justify putting him in A. I think the thing that really separates him from Boeser is the point totals, first of all, and then the shot volume. It's just like basically a lot better than what Boeser is. So I think that's why I have Nylander in the S tier. We're going to skip over Svetch for a second and go to Brady Tkachuk, who's technically the 25th. I miscounted in this video. Apologies. I think I'm going to put him in S. He's got 41 points in 47 games, which he's not really close to a point a game. But I think everybody knows the reason why I'm putting him in S is the fact that the shot on goal total is absurd. He's at 203 shots already, and he's got 124 hits on the year with 20 blocks. I think there's a justification for having him in A. I really want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Just given the fact that, you know, his point totals aren't as high as guys like Nylander, guys like Reinhart, Rantanen, Panarin, everybody in S allegedly. But I think it's similar enough to a guy like Filip Forsberg to where he's got a really high shot volume, a good amount of point totals to where like it's comparable and he's somewhat close to a point a game. But then the 124 hits and 20 blocks on top of that is just really what sets him apart of everybody else in A tier. Interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are on that. I think I'm going to have him in S. Now, technically, this is the 26th winger, but I wanted to give some love to Andrei Svechnikov. I think he's deserving of the A tier. He's got 30 points in 29 games on the year, 11 goals, 19 assists, 71 shots, 66 hits, and 8 blocks on the year. The biggest thing with Svech is the fact that he was injured for the majority of the year so far and had kind of struggled earlier on when coming off that injury, and then he took another break for an injury. But the fact that he's over a point a game, the fact that he's got a good shot volume on top of that, 71 shots in those 30 or 29 games, excuse me, and then 66 hits on top of that. Like, we've saw his hit volume kind of come up a little bit and his shot volume drop slightly. I think he's still deserving of the A, just given how good of a categories player he is. I think it's justification for having him in B, but the fact that he's over a point a game, I wanted to put him in the A tier and show Svech a little bit of love. All right, guys, these are the final revisions that I did for the tier list. A couple of changes here. I bumped up Kaprizov and J-Rob into the A tier alongside Jake Gensel. Matt Barzal stays in A with Carter Verhaeghe. Just given his shot volume, I wanted to keep him there. And then I bumped down Svech and I bumped down Stamkos and Marchand. Even though Stamkos has a really, really high power play point total, I couldn't really justify putting him above anyone else in A. So I decided to bump down Stammer and Marchand as well. Very similar point totals as well. They're just elite on the power play. I could have a reason for putting them in A, but I decided to just bump them down to B. But for right now, this is the final revisions of the list. So let me know what you guys think. All right, guys, that's going to do for this video. Again, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you would have, which player where. Did I miss anybody? Do you guys think I drastically overrated or underrated somebody? Let me know in the comments down below. Love hearing your guys' opinions as well. If you guys want to vote on each of these players individually, there will be a link in the description that will allow you to kind of essentially do the tier list, and I will be able to see the results, which I will be posting in a future video to kind of recap before the second half of the fantasy hockey season kind of starts and before playoffs. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you did. I will see you in the next video. Tomorrow we have defensemen, so look forward to that. I will see you then. Have yourselves a fantastic rest of the day.